Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice. Have you ever been in a conversation where there was much sound and many words, but no listening? Often when talking to another soul, one perceives after a certain time that one is talking in vain, because the person is demonstrating that the will is not adjusted, and therefore the intellect cannot perceive in peacefulness and serenity a new truth. The person is being threatened. We call it a person of bad will, of bad faith. And that person, with difficulty, accepts new truth and becomes loud to block it out. This is the feast instituted by Pope Pius XI in 1925 to underline the authority of Christ even on the social level, against what was referred to at the time as l'hérésie du laïcisme, the heresy of laicism, that God was relegated to the private domain, one's personal devotional life, whereas in public he did not have his rights. It is interesting that tomorrow, here in Ireland, the 31st of October, will be feasted as a bank holiday, and with great festivities in the hours of the night in honour of some being. We know who it is. Whereas the following day, it would seem, will be back to normal. The following day being, on the other hand, the day in which God should be the centre of attention and all his saints with him. This night, strange, spooky things will happen. They are already happening around, if one notices, all the shops. Even the whole attention is advertising and demonstrating ugliness, noise, the hideous. That we are by now used to. But transpose that to the home. Transpose that to a child playing apparently innocently on a screen. What is he playing with? Ugly beasts. A child watching modern children video, what is he looking at? The type of ugliness that the brain of Harry Potter can invent and has become the new norm. Now, do you see how to feast the ugly, even culturally, is to create a complete reversal of values and to place in a child's mind confusion? Would you believe this? But way back in the 80s, the Gwynedd Health Authority, because we live in the county of Gwynedd in North Wales, asked that in the schools Halloween be not feasted. That is interesting from a lay authority. And it showed a great maturity and courage on the part of those who knew what they were doing and saying in public. Because a child cannot distinguish, and if he's invited to feast the ugly and to play with the ugly and to think it's beautiful and powerful and something interesting, then we as adults will have to face the consequences down the line. The ugly, my friends, is real ugly. I came across this morning something which reminded me of that. Way back when I was in formation here, actually in Ireland, not far away from where we are here, a little child used to come with us on retreat, hoping eventually to enter the monastery. He actually didn't, but I hope he's become a priest since, because he was a very special child. And he gave me this testimony just in casual conversation. Some time previously, he had been watching a toned-down version of the famous film The Exorcist. And he was so horrified that he went into his little room, and before the picture of the Sacred Heart over his bed, he, on his knees, made a vow, never ever to have anything to do with the powers of darkness. He went to his aunt and came back some days later, and when he got back to his little room, he found that that same large picture in a frame of the Sacred Heart was on the ground and shattered to bits. And beside it was this sheet of paper, which this morning I found again in my archives. Now, you can just about see it from where you are. It's in satanic script, therefore no human being wrote it. Pointed and ugly and yet perfect in its ugliness. And it says, "Never say that again!" exclamation mark. And that little child knew in his littleness that he was handling strange powers. And he said, young though he was, in my ear, he'll do anything to get virgins. Now that's going back to the mid-80s or early 90s. Now, Satan is actually doing that. They are playing not only with suggestions of ugliness, battering the brains out of the other monster in the same video game, but also very early in life, navigating and surfing in strange websites. If the devil can attack their purity, he's got a huge victory. This night, I would ask you, if you possibly can, to think between now and midnight tomorrow about this strange force that we call Old Nick. Remember where we came from. God reigned in solitude. Nothing was, but only one sole being, alone in his eternal solitude. And he wanted new beings, and so created the angelic realm, wanting this test, which they failed. We know what happened. Now, it would seem that at that point, the devil thought he would get some kind of glorious compensation and have his own realm, perhaps in the galaxies, something out there. But no, instantaneously was created something which wasn't there, which God did not want, hell. And there they were, and they were all going that way, but then St. Michael had this power to keep the others safe, and only a third fell. Now hell, say the mystics, was meant for them. God did not want other beings there as well. When we see a child playing with things which suggest hell, we are in front of a strange phenomenon which we don't seem to grasp for what it is. It's the devil trying subtly to get these pure souls who have come straight from glory for himself. And from the beginning to the condition of the mind that says, I want this thing which is normal, and I will play with it. It's interesting. My friends, the devil will do anything to infiltrate the angelic mind of a child. This morning, as I was preparing for this celebration, I was quietly thinking of the other side. The kind of kingdom that we belong to. And in the sacristy, which I have in the Hermitage, I came across this, which every time I look at and bow to before and after Mass when I celebrate. It's Christ the King. Now look at this image, at its dignity and serene beauty. compared with those images which are now the centre of attention in our shops and all over the place at Halloween. This is the face of calm glory that said, be, and we are, and one day will say, come or go, according to which way we have lived. Now, when on earth we are with somebody who is in collusion with the other power, we say we're in bad company. There's, as it were, an aroma, not aroma, but a stench of sulphur around a person who is in mortal sin. The saints, like St. Catherine, could smell it. But there is, in every person in collusion with the evil one, something of that ugliness. The way he speaks, the way he even dresses, the way he actually covers or uncovers himself in public. There's something of Satan in a person who's in mortal sin. Observe, but don't condemn. A person who's in grace radiates warmth and the kindness of that Creator with whom they're collaborating. Transpose that to church. The atmosphere of his court is that of peace and real beauty and elevation and otherness. Do you see how even in our assemblies the other guy is coming in with bits of his kingdom, noise, agitation, unpleasantness and things unworthy of glory? He wants even in church to get attention. Because the devil, my friends, knows exactly how to get his rights. He has his own worship, and this is his feast coming up tomorrow, the 31st of October. Remember, All Hallows, All Hallow Even has become All Halloween, Halloween for short. But it's the devil that we're worshipping. And don't think that they're not doing things satanic. They'll do anything to get hold of the sacred host. And do you think that this robbing of the sacred relics at Holy Cross recently is just for money? No! They wanted the prime relic of the whole of Ireland to get involved surely with something satanic and ugly. If they can get the real cross and abuse it, it's a huge victory. It was gigantically calculated, this taking of the relic of the Holy Cross from the Abbey of Holy Cross in County Tipperary. But every time that they get hold of the sacred host, if you knew what they did with it, I've read the details of the sacrament, it's awful. Impurity which you cannot even describe, using the Blessed Sacrament. That's what we're up against. And they have real powers in this world. But then, the next. You know the story of Faust, who gave his soul. And according to the great writer Goethe, we have this demonstration of Satan wanting his pound of flesh. He's about to die, Dr. Faust, and he knows that he's on the wrong side. We have this dialogue in the drama. One small drop of this precious blood will be enough. One small drop. But the devil wants his pound of flesh. You're mine! And according to the story, we hear cries, and he doesn't make it. That's dramatized. But the real thing exists, my friend. Every time a soul goes into the beyond, in that state of mind, having played all his life the game of the enemy, do you think it changes overnight? No, that's when it starts. I want souls, says the devil. The reverse of St. Catherine, I want souls. Sitio, I thirst. I'll just finish with one thing. Julian of Norwich saw in ecstasy the palm of Almighty God, as it were, and in it a little hazelnut, as she says, round as a ball. It was all that he had created. She saw three things. God made it, God loves it, and God sustains it. He loves his own. He dreamt us out of nothing. He had a brainwave, and one day, as it were, it came out of his pocket. Like this. The world I dreamt. Now that's what we're sitting on. And we're made just to be here for a test, so as to get to the realms of angelic glory that He's prepared for us, because His goodness itself, and wants to share what He has. Now, look again at this. Imagine that you're God looking down at the earth. You can see all the time a huge cloud of souls coming out all the time out of this little ball, at the rate of 2 souls a second, all the time. Souls, souls, souls coming all the time out of time into eternity, in one fraction of a second, finding eternity for the first time, without defense, without distraction. And do you see how clever the devil is? All these people had all the time in the world, and all the devil had to do was keep them busy. Busy, busy, busy. Distracted, distracted, distracted. Noise, noise. Words, words. Anything but stop and think. And then I've got them. I finish, my friends. We're up against a cosmic power which wants our harm. Be careful that you don't feast the devil tomorrow. Spend it rather in adoration with the true beauty that made you. Because beauty is silent, and the language of beauty